Man, it's rough out here. Rockstar ain't budging at all. They are not giving any information on the Nightclub DLC. I mean, it's kind of crazy. A couple of weeks ago, when they released a little teaser trailer, they said to stay tuned for more details. Well, we're staying tuned, Rockstar. I don't think we will ever understand why the hell Rockstar are so secretive. But, you know, today, instead of looking forward, I wanted to look backwards. I'm sure you guys don't want to see another speculation video on the Nightclub DLC, so let's talk about the old times in GTA. Now, the other day I was reminiscing on GTA Online and some of the fun times I had back, I guess, when the game first came out. And I know some of you guys did play back then, some of you guys hopped on maybe when the new consoles came out. But today in this video, I want to talk about the top 10 things I miss about the old GTA Online. These are really in no particular order because I couldn't list them 10 to 1. But the first thing, good old Johnny on the spot. Now, you had to play basically the first couple of months GTA Online came out to even remember Johnny on the spot. But this guy, he would actually deliver our cars personally. They wouldn't just appear out of nowhere. He would drive them to you, roughly, get out, and then walk away. He was an actual person that you got to see. And sometimes, actually, most of the times, you got to kill because dude was an idiot. I remember one time I called him. I was like on the highway, I think on the left side by the ocean. And I was on one side of the street. I called him, wanted my car. Well, the dummy decided to just steal it, basically, because he ended up in Paleto Bay. The AI for Johnny on the spot wasn't that great. But looking back on it, I kind of missed that, you know? It was just one of those things that made GTA Online. Like, I don't know. That's definitely one of the biggest things I miss from back in the day. The next thing, I guess while we're on the topic of cars, remember when the Adder was the most expensive car at $1 million? Man, I miss those days. Back when you didn't have to spend upwards of $3 million just to get a new high-end supercar. And, you know, back in the day, while the Adder was the highest in terms of top speed, it wasn't the best for racing. It was actually pretty competitive between it, like the Entity, and other high-end supercars for the time. But man, those were the days back when you didn't have to spend a freaking $1 billion on everything. I mean, the Adder being $1 million, if you had that, you were like a god, you know? You had so much money back then, and not many other people did. And just, I don't know, it was kind of cool to have that. You know, you don't get that nowadays because everyone has all the vehicles that are all expensive. Another thing, back in the day, you could use the cargo bob to pick up pretty much anything. And we all did it back in the day. We all picked up our friends' cars while they were driving them, or even when they weren't driving them, maybe they were going AFK for a couple of seconds. You picked them up and they couldn't do anything about it, and then you drop them off in the ocean. So, you know, just stuff like that. Nowadays you can somewhat do, but there's certain vehicles that you can't pick up, which is unfortunate. And then sort of on the same topic, you could also get into the back of the Titan. And I don't know if you can still do that now. I think they made it pretty much impossible to open up the back of the Titan without blowing the Titan up, which is very, very unfortunate. But back then, you could open it up and you could drive vehicles in it. Now, you had to be very, very careful. Otherwise, everything would blow up because it was very, very glitchy. But it was just kind of cool to, you know, have people in there, or have a bike or two in there, get up, you know, somewhat decently high in the sky, and then fall out or something. You know, just little things like that. Again, also, there's a lot of other ways to troll people. If someone was, like, harassing you, I guess you would call it, in the game, one really cool thing that you could do without having to pay for insurance was pouring gas all over their car, and then whenever they started it, like, the exhaust would light the gas on fire, and it would light their whole car on fire, and then blow them up, and they would have to pay the insurance. Like, there were just really cool things like that. Sometimes when people had their cars impounded, they would do this. You would go pour gas on it and then just wait until they get it back. Nowadays, you can't do that without paying for their car, which is, I mean, it's not that big of a deal because most of the insurance isn't too expensive, but it was just one of those things that happened back then and doesn't really happen now. One thing that I know a lot of people are very upset about, the armored trucks. Now, they didn't pay really any money at all. I think you only got like $9,000 from it. But just seeing them around and then seeing like a lot of people, if they noticed they were on the map, right, going towards them and then trying to get there first and then throwing sticky bombs on the back to try and get the money. And another one of the free mode events back in the day was the crates that dropped, like the little cargo plane, or not the cargo plane, but the little like Cuban, I think it's called, would drop a crate in the, in a random spot, and then everyone would just converge on it, and there would be a decent shootout between everyone to get what's inside the crate. And then once Rockstar had some special events, they would put some cool stuff in there. Like I remember they had the beer hats. Those were in there. They had some like not secret, but like unique t-shirts in there. And now what do we get? Free mode events that no one ever does. Ones where you have to fly upside down for 15 minutes or wheelie or not hit a car for 10 minutes. I wish they could have built on what they had. Another thing, flying around in the air without having to worry. Man, oh man, those were the days. You could be in anything and you didn't have to worry. Nowadays, anytime you're in the air, you have to be on the lookout. And even if you're on the lookout, you're still probably going to get shot at with a homing missile or a vehicle that has a homing missile on it. And it's just unfortunate. You really have to go into passive mode if you don't want to blow up when you're flying a plane. And that just takes the fun out of flying. One of my favorites, back in the day, no one cared about their KD. No one was easy way outing. No one was killing themselves. Everyone was just having a good time. If you wanted to fight someone, you fought them. Man, you didn't easy way out to try and get a better spawn so they didn't kill you. Stuff like that is kind of what annoys me with the way the community is. And I know it's not everyone. It might be a minority, but I don't like that. I don't like getting killed and then trying to have a nice battle with someone and they just keep killing themselves over and over again. And then these last three are glitches, and I know they're never gonna happen, but man, they were fun. The $1 billion bounties, the money apocalypse. Whoo! I can't tell you guys how much fun GTA was back then. If you played, obviously during that time, you would know. If you didn't though, man, you missed out. Everyone had billions of dollars. No one cared about anything. People were basically encouraging others to blow each other up. They're like, hey man, I got $1 billion. None of this matters. So, man, the times were just different back then. And unfortunately, obviously Rockstar took away all that money, but it was just crazy when you would see someone in the lobby, like you'd get the notification that says so-and-so has a $9 billion bounty. And like everyone in the lobby just instantly turned to that person and chased them. And this led to some really cool little sequences, I guess, where you would intentionally put a $9 billion bounty on yourself and then try and survive the entire lobby. And that really doesn't happen anymore, unless maybe you're doing like crate work and people are being dicks and they're trying to kill you. The other two things have to do with vehicles. One of them, glitching vehicles into your garage. Yeah, back then you could glitch jets, you could glitch helicopters, tanks, pretty much any vehicle you could glitch inside of your garage. And the best part is that you could get Johnny on the spot to deliver it. And that was just hysterical. You'd have a laser in your garage, and then you'd have Johnny on the spot. You'd call him up and you'd have him deliver it to you. He'd freaking be driving it down the road, and then he'd hop out of it and just walk away like nothing ever happened. And that was just hysterical, seeing that every single time. And just the fact that it's helpful, like, you could call it jet wherever you are. You can kind of do that nowadays with the interaction menu in the hangar, but it was just something else to have a jet spawn or a tank spawn right next to you, or your buzzard spawn right next to you, or even any of your other crazy vehicles spawning right next to you. And then the final thing that I miss from back in the day is having rare cars. And it has to do with glitching, because a lot of the cars that I owned were from single player. You had to do like the single player to multiplayer glitch. And one of my favorite ones was Franklin's Buffalo, which you can get easily now in the game. I think you can just buy it. But back in the day, you couldn't buy it. No one had it unless they did the glitch to get it. So you were in a rare car that not many people, had seen in this vehicle, and just driving it around was so much fun. One of the other really fun things was when people glitched tow trucks into the game. Now they glitched a lot. Like, they would crash people's Xboxes and stuff sometimes, so I understand why Rockstar haven't put them in the game. But linking 10 tow trucks in a row and then just driving around, the craziness that would happen was insane. People would go flying, everything would start freaking out, the length of the hook would just increase to crazy limits, and just nutty things would happen when you dealt with tow trucks. But again, that was like the fun of GTA back then, doing all these crazy glitches and having crazy stuff happen. But anyway, that is my trip down memory lane. Let me know in the comment section. Actually, I'm kind of curious, when did you guys start playing GTA? Are you one of the guys like me who played way back when it first came out, or did you hop along sometime later? And obviously, let me know what you miss about the old GTA. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this little break from the Nightclub DLC. One day we'll get info, but who knows when. Anyway, thank you all, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.